year. Excited about where we are with the company and things that we're doing with the company. I promise you, every year, every month seems to be getting a little bit better. So, we are, we were recognized as Ladies of Justice Field Train of the Year for last year. Yeah, last year, I think 2019 was the year we got the award last year. We're Business Solutions Sapphire Elite Associates, one of the top small biz producers for the company. We've personally written and earned the production award for over 1,000 apps. And we are the CDLP state trainer for the state of Georgia. And just so excited about this platform and the activity that's going on with the associates. This platform hasn't always been here, so I don't want you guys, I say this every week, to take it lightly. We should give a shout out to Mr. Dunbar for starting this platform here, because I think it really has made a difference in this division of our company. So we have this Facebook page, we have this call, and these guys have really trained me and got me to the position where I am. And I'm just so very grateful. I also host the accountability call, which is on Thursday night. It's about 20 associates that have plugged into that call, and you probably see a lot of their names on the leaderboards because they are opening groups, writing small businesses, plans, and they are sitting around every Thursday night just, conversating and sharing what they're doing in the field, how they're picking up the phones, participating in all the corporate blitz. And so the activity has really began to pay off for them. So kudos to them. We invite those that want to have some accountability, but you should be actively working in the space or trying to work in the space. You might not have opened a group or sold a membership. We still invite you to come, because I promise you, if you come and you get excited to the mastermind on Thursday night, you'll go back and do some activity. I almost said chokers. These people, they made some goals last month, and a lot of them pushed themselves and achieved them or came close. They increased their activity, and that's what matters. Okay, you all for allowing me to share, and I will pass it over to you, Randy. Did I freeze?
Oh. No, you did a little bit, but you're good now.
Okay, well, I'm done. Over to you guys.
Name's Randy Hooker. I've been with LegalShield since 2008. We've done the 1,000 app award, 50K ring. Love working in the CDL space. It's the only space that all I have to do is actually explain the membership and they buy it. So love working in it. If I can ever help anybody, field trainer in West Texas, I'd be glad to help you. Over to you, Lamar.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Randy. This is Lamar Reynolds out of Houston, and it's an honor to be on the call here tonight. And I've been with LegalShield for 16 years now, going on 17. And I've been a trainer for a little over 12 years. And I've been selling the CDLP membership for about 13. And I just get up every day. I know everybody's heard that, but I just get up every day selling the CDLP in the lane of transportation to drivers and to companies. That's my main thrust out there. But I sell all the different products to the transportation. And I've been able to get the 50,000K ring and the 100,000K ring by selling in transportation. I've sold over 5,000 personal memberships. I'm going on 6,000, and I'll hit that number sometime in the future. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not, but it'll be sometime in the future. and I'm part of the Special Forces. And so it's just a great honor to get on the call here tonight and share some information. And here this evening, me and Mr. Randy is going to share a little information with you about our time together in Houston. You don't want to miss it. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Robert.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys. Real quickly, I think I've 11, 12 years in the business, 6 years training on the networking side, 3.5 years training on the CDLP side, business solution side. Really just here to help guys. 100K ring earner, 250K ring earners on my team. And we really like to have this call like every Monday, because we know that week to week, day to day, when you're out in the field doing CDLP, you need somewhere to come back to get more information, to kind of, feel like people are dealing with what you're dealing with. And we know that there's not a lot of resources out there, not only in this, in LegalShield, but in this industry. It's just not a whole lot of things going on in the CDL space. So we are privileged to be able to be in this space and be able to offer a product this great. We got the best product on the market. We got the best training team to train you on how to market this plan to individuals that drive trucks. So being on this call is very important if you're going to do CDLP space. If you're starting to get some activity, starting to get some traction, being on that Thursday accountability call is really important. If you want to keep up with what's happening and make sure that you're doing everything correctly, you need to be on the CDLP certification training, in my opinion, at least every 90 days. If you took that 4 times a year, that would cost you $200 annually to make sure you have a refreshed certification and understand exactly what's happening, so that you're not missing out on everything. So you're kind of entrenched in this space. We're going to talk about how to sell the CDL and the family. We cover all of it. So it's not just about us selling the CDL, but we always talk about bundling them together. So you can do some great things in this business by offering a CDL plan. So we want you guys to kind of sit tight. We are going to be talking a little bit about some field things that's happening with Randy and Lamar. Sharon is going to be talking about some new things in the CDL industry for those that didn't join us until after I said that the first time, so that you know what's going to be happening on the training. And then we're going to go over a couple of quick PDFs that you can use in the field with some information that you can use to prospect and break the ice. So if we have time for questions afterwards, we will do so. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Sharanda Ivy so she can start with her CDL information that she has for you all.
Okay, I just wanted to share. I don't know, have you guys been following the news?
Can't hear you, Sharanda.
Get off. But those individuals that may be driving commercially, when I say commercially, maybe you prospect them and you said, we help you with your CDLs, and they told you that they don't own a CDL. They don't have an endorsement. So you want to look into just start to build relationships with them, because legislation is changing, and those guys starting in 2022 for them to drive commercially will have to get a CDL endorsement. So therefore, and if you're not muted, please mute your lines.
I'll get them muted, Sharanda.
Okay. And so for those individuals that I guess I'm froze.
We got you.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Right quick. So for those individuals, go back to them, okay? Because legislation is changing. Next year, they're going to have to get an endorsement. So you want to prospect them, okay? So with that, just follow the news and start to have those conversations, because they'll see value in it now, eventually. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Dunbar or Randy.
Hey, Sharanda, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah, let's say this is a hotshot driver and he's got a Class C license now, driving a pickup truck, working as a hotshot driver for a transportation company. What, just so everybody knows, what you're saying in 2022, this particular driver's got to get a Class A license, a CDL. Is that what you're saying?
That's true. Because you know, a lot of your straight truck drivers, box trucks, people say box trucks.
Yep.
And a lot of those hotshot dually guys, a lot of those don't have a CDL. They can only haul a certain amount of weight, but they don't all own a CDL endorsement. So now, next year around February, those individuals are going to have a CDL endorsement. So, and a lot of those guys, they just don't know compliance. They just don't understand the laws and things like that. And they're high risk, especially those hotshot guys, right? Those hotshot guys are just like a flatbed truck. They're exposed. So you want to have those conversations, okay, with them, because it's really shaking up in the market. A lot of them are nervous, and you can only imagine how many going to try to get by without getting that CDL and still drive until they get caught. So just go back to those guys or continue to build, relationships so they'll know that you're the commercial person that can help them, because they're going to have some questions when it comes to compliance and things like that, where it used to may not. That's good, Lamar. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Over to you. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I got to hop off in about 5 minutes, but I'm going to turn it over to you and Randy.
Okay. So, hey, Mr. Randy, I've got a good many hotshot companies, and I know you do too. A lot of these guys are driving pickup trucks, and they got a Class C license. So what might be our strategy? Hey, you need to be protecting your Class C. You don't want to get any bad tickets on the Class C that's going to prevent you from getting a Class A in 2022. So, would that be a good strategy, Randy, to approach these drivers and try to get them into our program now, prior to 2022?
Well, of course, their license is their livelihood. And if they're going to have to get a CDL, it's going to become even more important. Once again, anything that is attached to that license or anything they're touching their hands on driving, which goes against our license. You and I both possibly just have I've got a Class B license, which is for driving the fire truck, but just a Class C license. That's the only license that they have. And anything that any citation, infraction, or anything that goes against that license, they only have one license. They don't have two different licenses. So anything that goes against it is going to be recorded in their MVR, which will be a report to that they're going to have to come up with to obtain that CDL, I'm quite sure.
Yeah. And so just so many of these hotshot drivers are driving their personal pickup truck. They're using it as a personal vehicle and a commercial vehicle. Okay. And some of these guys, they're not thinking that, okay, I might be driving personally and I'll get a speeding ticket for going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. We need to be sharing this information with them, because they could get some real bad stuff in their MVR that could cause them some problems in 22 getting their Class A. So there's a selling opportunity for us right there. I had 2 drivers today that had Class C license, and I just wished I would have shared more. Now that we're talking about it, I wished I would have approached them a little bit differently today. So next time I will do that. But this is great information to know. And what Randy and I want to talk about real quick. Randy came to Houston this past week, and he and I did a couple of sales calls together on an account that he and I was working together on. And one of my over the road accounts, Genox, we got up early on Thursday morning. We had to be there at that facility by 8 o'clock to do a presentation. So we were sitting out front at 7:30. So we were waiting until our time to go in. And so we went in, we had 2 drivers there. And Clarence, I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of Mr. Randy. I wanted to sell both of these drivers, okay? I wanted to sell double memberships. So I got up there and I did my presentation on the CDL and the legal plan. And of course, I went into the close there on the perks. And we had one driver that was very interested. And he got his application out, started filling out the application. And so this other driver, he had his paperwork, had his application laying there. When they cover up the application, that's a clear sign that, they're not filling out the paperwork. But this guy still had his application laying right there on the desk. So me and Mr. Randy just kept sharing and sharing and sharing. And so, Randy, you might want to share just what, it's different for each driver, what his hot button may be. And we were wanting to sell both of those memberships, but Randy shared with everybody what this driver that got him off of the blocks to fill out the application, what was that one thing that we talked about that got his interest there?
Well, whenever after you got through with your presentation, he was very interested in the CDL plan and even said that he wanted to get it, but he wanted to talk to his wife.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more conversation went on, and we were sharing with him about the legal program. And as we were talking, it came up as to the uncontested part of our membership. And I happened to make a comment that, on the uncontested adoption, that I don't know why, but I made a comment that one of my school teachers had asked whenever I was doing my presentation the second year. She asked if she could speak, and of course, she hadn't come to me and asked me or told me that she wanted to say anything. And so you never know whether that's going to be a good situation or a bad situation whenever they hold up their hand and say, "Can I say something?" And so of course you always sort of cover and say, "Yes," you just yeah, you can talk, but I'm just not sure whether I want you to or not. You hadn't talked to me. Well, she said, "You were here last year, and whenever you were going over the membership, you said that we had you after 90 consecutive days of the legal membership, that we had uncontested divorce, separation, annulment, adoption, name change." And she said, whenever you said adoption, that made me want to go ahead and sign up, because me and my husband had been trying to adopt, or for my husband to adopt my little boy, but we had talked to legal counsel and they wanted $10,000 to $12,000. Now listen, $10,000 to $12,000 for an uncontested adoption. In other words, the lady's husband was not contesting the boy her son being adopted by her second husband at all. It was a matter of paperwork and stuff. And so therefore she kept her membership, and after 90 days, she went and called LegalShield, and they were able to get her adoption done for $425.82. And she said, "I just wanted you to know that this membership has meant everything to me, and everybody ought to have it. And of course, whenever I said that, almost immediately he started filling out the application. Come to find out, he had an adoption that he needed to take care of. Right, Mr. Reynolds?
That is correct. And let me tell you the rest of the story. He not only enrolled in the legal program, he enrolled in the CDLP. And Randy, he put the effective date August 1st, and I entered that application today, brother. So it's a great way to start off the month. Clarence, I had a double membership I started off with. So I got, what was that, $50.90 of marketing right there. Marketing dollars right there. So to start off with. So you never know what is going to be the trigger for a driver to move forward. So it's just so important that you cover all the bases. And as long as they're listening, you can just keep talking a little bit. And while the other guy is filling out the application, we finally hit the hot button, and there he filled it out. So I was vindicated, and I left out with 2 doubles that day. So I got, me and Mr. Randy did the high fives. We went out the door. So we're in the car, okay, and we're driving about across town. Of course, we go to the group that he and I are working together, and now it's close to 12 o'clock, and Mr. Randy says, it's good to have an accountability partner, okay? And he says to me, hey, Lamar, it would be good for us to do a prospect call together. And so I looked at Randy, and because I hadn't even planned that, I looked at him, I said, so you want to make a prospect call? He said, yeah, let's go to one of your prospects. Okay, so we go to Whataburger, we get us a hamburger. Or was that afterwards? That might have been afterwards. Yeah. So we go to this trucking company that I had made prospect calls on before. And this gentleman was just coming back off of a sick leave. And there he was. I think he was 6'9". Was that correct, Randy? 6'9".
Yes.
Big, tall guy. And so he's the safety director. And meanwhile, as I'm pulling into the parking lot, on my console there, I've got all of these Monday night documents printed off. I got little paper clips on them, break week, and all these different documents there. Well, Randy's digging through all of that. And I said, hey, what are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for something we can hand out. So he's got something that, we want to open this conversation up with the break week. And man, there we were. In his presence, he brings us into his office. Randy wanted to stand up. I took the chair and sat down. He says, I want to stand up. He was going to go out and get Randy a chair. So Randy was standing up. And so we get into the Monday night documents. That's what we started that conversation off with. And it just, Randy, I don't know if you want to dialogue into that, but that was a beautiful call. And I mean, it led to some fertile ground that is going to allow me to come back into that account. Randy, would you like to add some more to
on that? Whenever we got in there, whenever we gave him that, and of course we asked, had he heard of the new break week coming up August 22nd to the 28th? He said, I have not heard of that. He said, that is good information. And of course, we told him, that he needed to get it to the safety director the maintenance man, so that they could start checking over all of the trucks to be ready for that here around August 1st. Of course, we were there, the last day of 30th of July. So therefore, it was a couple of days. We told him August 1st, they needed to start checking the truck. And then, of course, we had the other article too, there. From the what was the other one? We had two.
It was a scale house there on I-10, Randy.
Scale house. And man, he hadn't heard anything about it either. Yeah. And
so those 2 articles were like 2 bullets in the gun. Bam, bam. And there he was. He was like a deer in the headlights. And now we're ready to kind of move in and start to talk about, hey, when is your next safety meeting? Mr. Vernon, when can I come back and talk to you? Well, just give me a couple of weeks. I'm just getting back. So it really laid it up. And I just say, thank you, Randy, for pushing me on that. And so we go and we have us a hamburger, and then we go, and Randy had picked out, I don't know how he picked out this account, but he just picked out an account. And he was looking at the safer, and he said, hey, Lamar, hey, since we've had our hamburgers after lunch, we're heading to the barn, you know. He says, why don't we do another prospect call? And I said, what's the address? And he gives me the address. I said, that's real close in the direction we're going in. And so we go over to this account, and we pull up and we walk in the door. It's open, you know, we walk in, but now it's the inside door is locked. They got a glass thing. They got a little bell there, and I'm ringing the bell, trying to get somebody to come to the window, and nobody's coming to the window. And I think Randy I think you dialed the number, right?
Right. There was a number there for us to call if nobody came from the bell.
Yeah. And so Randy made a phone call, and in a few minutes, two ladies come out. I guess they were going to a break or whatever. And so we stopped them and talked to them and asked about the safety director. So one of the ladies turned back, went to the safety director. She came back and said, hey, he'll be out here in a few minutes. Well, in a few minutes, here come the safety director out. Lo and behold, it's one of my old safety directors from another one of my companies. And when he walks up, he said, hey, Lamar, how are you doing? So I was blown away. And what, if Mr. Randy hadn't been in Houston and pushed me to make 2 prospect calls, Lord help, I mean, I would have missed 2 great opportunities there. And it might have took me another 2 years to get over there to where this guy was. And of course, we had a good conversation, and he's going to invite me, hopefully, to do some new driver orientation classes. I'm going to email him tomorrow. I'm going to call him on the Blitz tomorrow and start some dialogue with him to try to drill down of you know, when he's doing some new driver orientation. And
Lamar,
yeah,
you know, that was the account that I told you had 34.8 out of service, and 12 point something on the drivers and their basic owner operators. So I told you, I said, this guy could use some help.
Yeah. So the reason I'm talking about this tonight is just so important. Everybody that's on this call, we got 61 people on this call. It's just so important that you get an accountability partner. And Sharanda talks about this all the time. She's got a accountability call, but you need a person you can work with and make calls with. And it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. One is pushing the other a little bit to make calls. Let's do it this way. Let's make another call. Let's go here. Let's go there. And you never know. And I told Randy when we was going to his account over here, and when I was going the back road, I said, Randy, sometimes it's good to get lost and drive around in those back roads. You find all kinds of prospects back there. So it's good to get lost sometimes and drive the back roads you've never been on before, and you find all these trucking companies, okay? And so that's the type of spirit I would like each of you to share, you know, with somebody that you can work with and make calls. It's really a lot of fun. Find another transportation salesperson and partner up. And when we were doing the CDLP live classes, I used to tell people that came into that class, okay, we got 20 people here. I want you to meet everybody here. I want you to find somebody that you can partner up with and make calls. So that's really a lot of fun and very effective. So Randy, I'll give you the last word before we turn it back over to Robert.
Well, the only thing I'll say is it was a lot of fun being down there. The nice part about Houston over San Angelo is there's basically a trucking company on every other building. And so therefore, compared to where I'm at, there's one every five or six or 8 or 10, maybe 20 miles apart. And so whenever you can go from store to store to store to store in trucking companies, it makes a lot of difference, guys. If you have those type of opportunities, take advantage of them. You never know. Look, the only thing that somebody can do when you walk in is say no. And you were looking for somebody whenever you found them. So if they say no next, don't let it bother you. Just because there's somebody else looking, I'll guarantee you, that needs help. And all you have to do is go next door. Because if you get told no 2 or 3 times, somebody's going to say, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life? You're just exactly what I need." Yes, let's get going. So just keep working and stay after it.
What I liked about Mr. Randy Hooker, there we are. We're inside there. Nobody is answering the window, and he's not going to give up. He's going to get somebody on the phone, you know. So that's really exciting. You make an in-person call, end up getting on the phone, and Randy was determined to get somebody out of that door. And so I just say thank you, Randy, because I'm going to write some memberships there at that company. I think they got 60 something drivers.
64, yeah.
64 drivers. So I'll sell a few of those. All right. So, Mr. Robert, I'll turn it back over to you because I know you want to do an interview.
Yeah, there's somebody on here that's made the $50,000 ring, haven't they?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Mr. Robert, if you're there.
Yeah, before we do that though, real quickly, guys, I'm gonna hit a couple of these questions in here. So we got a couple of questions inside the chat that I'm gonna kind of throw them out there. So one person asked the information that Sharenda Ivy mentioned about people needing CDLs. Does that apply to Uber type drivers as well?
Wow. I don't think so, Randy. I don't think so. I don't know for sure about the Uber drivers.
It could possibly because
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to say that anything that's making a living, because there's a lot of the Uber drivers are for profit, and if that's what they're going to say, I've got to read the fine print and see what it says before you'd know. But if it's any vehicle that they're making money out of, they could make all of them do it.
We'll research that and have an answer for you next week. So there you go. You got to plug in next week to get the answer to that, because we don't want to tell you something that's not right. Okay.
I like that. Plug in next week. That's good stuff. Could you discuss what a conditional rating means for a carrier?
Conditional?
Yeah, conditional rating.
Isn't that where they basically had a level or an inspection, and they put them on in other words, you can drive, but you have to meet these certain criteria.
That is correct. So they've gone through an audit. So more than likely, they have at least 3 safety alerts and the 7 deadly sins. Okay. So more than likely, vehicle maintenance is probably one of them. In most companies, that is one of them. And probably the electronic log, and probably who knows what the other one is. It could be,
Right.
Yeah, it could be any of those things. But more than likely, they had 3 safety alerts, and that brought on an audit. And so it could have been in person, but these days they're doing a lot of virtual audits. And after the audit, they got the conditional. So they're not out of the woods. They've got some work to do. They got to do some driver training classes and so forth. And that's where we plug in. So that's fertile ground for us. If you see that it's a conditional, you need to make a call on that company. If that's a prospect, you need to make a call on them. So that's why you go into that safer, Randy, right? And you check that out.
That's about the same thing as a you're not authorized
That's right.
situation for insurance or what have you. Yeah.
But more than likely, when you see that conditional, you can also assume that the insurance rates is on the way up. And you could also assume that, like Randy was saying, the out of services is through the ceiling, and you can get over there to the roadside inspection and you can see a lot of points is calculated down through there in the last 6 months and the next 6 months. So that's why it's so important, everybody on this call, that you go into the safer, you know how to get back there and look at the violations, and the roadside inspections is just so important that you do that, because once you're into that arena and you got something really to talk about, I mean, you're talking about their score. And I had a prospect that one of the ladies on this Monday night call had got interest in that account, and she asked me to close it, and I used their score, and I did a Zoom presentation. It took about 45 minutes, and I used their score and showed them a lot of things about the calculation of the points and stuff. And when I finished, I said, "Are you folks ready to move forward with the LegalShield program?" And the office manager says, "I don't think the owner needs much time to evaluate this." And then he interrupted her and said, "No, I don't need much time. I think we need to move forward with this program now." Okay. And that was, and Sharanda would like this, that was a Zoom presentation, and closed it. Me and Mr. Randy, we love doing in-person presentations. I mean, that's just the way we are. We love doing that. But sometimes, you know, we do the virtual too. And it's really powerful when you're able to go in there and see those things, evaluate them, and you've learned it from the Monday night call. And you're talking about things that is really important to them, and that's a CSA profile, the points that goes into the company, and the insurance rates. And their customer base can view those points. And so once you connect all of those dots for them, the blinders are off and they're ready to make a decision. You can either do that in person or you can do that on a Zoom call. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That's the way it's done right there. Mr. Robert?
All right, so real quick, last question, and it was addressed. Hold on, let me get the mic off. It was addressed in the chat, but I wanted to, but some people, they're not reading the chat. Just a quick description of what a hot shot is, because Sharanda mentioned hot shot during her talk, and some people didn't know what a hot shot was. So if you can, one of you guys can mention what a hot shot is. And Lamar also mentioned about knowing how to pull the companies, knowing what to look for when you pull the companies. For those that doesn't know what he's talking about, if you go to the Facebook page, and go to the training that says third annual. It'll say third annual. You can find it on the Facebook page, or you can go to the YouTube page, which is going to be Training by Dunbar, or just go to Robert Dunbar's YouTube page and go to the area, the playlist that says Weekly CDLP Training Zoom, and look for the training that says third annual. And you will see an entire hour and 45-minute training on how to pull companies from A to Z. Randy starts that training off by showing you how to go directly through truckdriver.com to do all those things as well. So that's where you can find that information. So back to you, or you or Randy, whichever one of you guys want to explain what the hot shot is.
Well, your hot shot drivers are 1-ton pickups or 3/4-ton pickups, just regular pickups or dually pickups. Some of them will be pulling a trailer. Some of them just actually work out of their vehicle. The biggest way that you can know if they're a hot shot or not is most of them, a lot of the hot shot drivers do have DOT numbers on their vehicles. And even though they may not have to have a CDL, they do have a DOT number a lot of the time, and it'll be on the side of a pickup, or it'll be on a pickup pulling a gooseneck trailer or what have you. And those pickups, there's scads and scads and scads of them out there in middle of Odessa, because there's a lot of companies that may need a couple of pumps or a couple of valves, or they need something that really won't amount to a 26,000 pound load for a semi. And so therefore, one of the hot shots with one of the long 25, 35 foot, 20 to 35 foot gooseneck trailers can go and pick that up and deliver it a lot faster. And so therefore, that's what they call a hot shot driver, is to move different types of merchandise quickly from one place to another, and they do it for hire, in other words, for money. And so therefore, that's what causes them to need our program. Any more, Lamar?
Yeah, that's perfect, Mr. Randy. And the thing that I wanted to add into that, I have flatbed companies, I've got container companies, and within that mix, I've got companies that does flatbed, container, and hot shot all in one company. Okay. And I've got container companies that do containers and hot shot. And most of the hot shot is from the north side of town to the south side of town. Okay. And, get it over there in 2 hours and make a delivery. And so a lot of these, as Randy just indicated, are half-ton, three-quarter ton, or maybe 1 ton pickup trucks. And a lot of them, and Randy indicated, some of them has got gooseneck trailers on them. Now, the DOT is all about those gooseneck trailers. Man, they work those guys over. Used to, they didn't bother them very much, but they are a moving target out there. All right. But if it's just a regular pickup truck, let's say a half-ton or three-quarter ton, and on each one of those trucks, as Randy indicated, it's got the US DOT number on there, and it may have the name of the company. Well, it'll have the name of the company and the DOT number on there. Now, when the DOT sees that and they look and see in the back end of that pickup truck, let's say he's got a pallet of something in the back of that pickup truck. If it's not strapped down, he can pull that pickup truck over and issue a ticket on load securement. And that is 10 points times, that's 30 points right there on a pickup truck. So he can do that. Just because they're driving a pickup truck and they're hot shot, it's not hands off of the DOT. DOT can get you. Now, there's very few of the pickup trucks that go through a roadside inspection. They're just very few of them that do. But there is, it's not unheard of that a pickup truck can be pulled over by the DOT and they can issue a load securement ticket on them. So that's why if it's a commercial vehicle, they need a CDLP membership on that membership or on that commercial vehicle. And so in 2022, I mean, it's like, I'm glad they did that now. I'm glad now that in 22, everybody's got to have a CDL. Well, that makes it easy. They just need this program. I don't care if you're driving a pickup truck or an 18-wheeler, you need the commercial program. So there's a lot of drivers when you're up there and you're doing this great presentation about DOT tickets and stuff, it's going right over their head. It don't relate to me. They don't relate to that. And more than likely, a lot of those drivers won't buy our CDL package, okay? Not the first time through. But when they get a ticket, they probably will. But I think in 2022, a lot of that's going to change. So I'm looking forward to that. We just need to make you folks aware what a hot shot opportunity is. And a lot of your trucking companies, even AJ there, I bet you he's got hot shot in his big transportation company. AJ, do you got hot shot in yours?
Yeah, I got one.
There you go.
I got one. Okay.
And so you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how many hot shot opportunities are in transportation companies. So don't overlook it. Mr. Robert?
All right, good stuff. So we got to pull this PDF up and look at it. It's going to take 2 minutes, and then we're going to go to AJ. So AJ, I hadn't heard back from you, so I'm not going to do a full interview because it's not fair to not give you enough time. So I want to give you and your wife time to kind of go through the deal because the 50K ring is important. A lot of the business that you guys have been doing is important. So after I run over these PDFs real quick, I'm going to still bring you up so we can celebrate you and talk about the fact that you got that 50K. I see the smile on your face, guys. We're all excited for you too, brother. But next week, we're going to do a full interview so we can talk about start to finish, man, what you did to get that knocked out, brother. So we're really, really proud of you and your wife. And we want to give you a chance to really explain what happened so people can really learn from that process, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to take 2 minutes, guys, because this is not an educational moment. I'm just letting you guys pull something up, share real quick. So we got a couple of PDFs here, and these PDFs are going to be something you can use in the field. So Randy, almost every week, Randy throws some new PDFs inside of the Facebook page. So last week or the week before last, he talked about the results from the brake inspection for July of 2021. So this is the same information. So I'm not going to go over this. So if you pull the one that he has on the Facebook page, you already have a flyer with this information on it. So I created a different one here. It's the same information. Just on the bottom, you can actually do it fillable. So you can just put the cursor there and just type your name in there. Once you pull it off, just download it, and then and it'll go out tomorrow in the email for everybody. It's set up to go out tomorrow, so it'll hit your inbox, and you can just put your name like that, and then you can just put your email address if you want to. Whatever you put on your flyers, that's totally up to you. I know that Randy's is Microsoft setup, and I'll let him explain the difference between the two because he was explaining it to me in the back so that you guys understand. This form is a PDF. So the only thing you can do with this is type in your information here that you're going to use for your prospects so that they have a way to contact you, whatever the case may be. This is the categories here, the same way the categories are on the other one. I just copy and paste it. And this is just the information letting you know how the inspection went. And this is the link from the news article, the same link that's on the one that Randy put together. You click that link and it'll take you directly to the article. So you can use this to break the ice the same way you use Randy's for. This one is for males. And the reason why I did these for male and females, because I had a couple of clients that needed some female stuff because they were working female trucking companies or groups on Facebook that had nothing but female truck drivers in it. So this is the exact same form, guys. It's just pink and purple, and it's got a woman on it. So if you're prospecting women truck drivers and you're breaking the ice there, if it's a woman safety manager, whatever the case may be, you've got an option to have a pink and purple one, which is more suited for females. The same thing down here. You can go right on ahead and fill it in right here on the bottom, the same way if you need to use it. So you guys will get an email tomorrow with both forms in it. So if you want to use those, they're beneficial for you to have. Now, Randy, I know you saying like the Microsoft setup that you have, which is good because Randy's is Microsoft and this is PDF. So if you can real quickly, Randy, like say the difference, because I don't totally understand, but I know you do. So I want to turn it over to you for that. You there, Randy? I don't even know if I see him.
Yeah, I think he might have froze up.
Oh, okay. Well, I know he had mentioned something about the PDF that he puts out there. Excuse me, not PDF. The Microsoft one that he does, you can alter anything on it. Because it's Microsoft, when you pull it up, you can actually highlight things on it and you can type whatever you want on there. So if you want to put, I guess, maybe your logo or more detailed information than just your name and your email, you can do those things on the Microsoft version that he has on the Facebook page right now. If all you're going to do is put your name in there, my form is synonymous to you pulling it off of LS Engage and just typing your name and email in there. That's what you can do with the one that I created because it's a PDF fillable form, the same way that LegalShield releases. But this is male and female, and it's just the results of the last brake inspection. So wanted to make sure you guys had that. understood how it works. Remember, the email will be going out tomorrow. If you don't see the email, then you'll see it on the Facebook page or somewhere else, but you'll have access to it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce, for those who don't know, Arjun and his wife. I don't know how long they've been in CDL, in CDL or LegalShield, but he will certainly explain that. But guys, you know, the $50,000 ring is a really important landmark and milestone in your business. Randy Hooker is a 50K ring earner, one of the CDLP field trainers on this call. Lamar Reynolds is a 100K ring earner, one of the CDLP certification trainers on this call. Alan Roman is a $200,000 ring earner, who is the #1 producer in CDLP, and also a platinum in LegalShield, #1 producer, platinum, $200,000 ring earner in the CDLP space. And then of course I'm a 100K ring earner as well. That 50K ring, guys, is a big deal. When you're making $50,000 from home, offering a product, and remember, when you're thinking about 50K, remember you're selling a product that's residual income too. So you continue to get paid on that membership. So that's a huge deal. So we want to congratulate Mr. Arjun. I'm gonna open the mic up for him to talk and say some things here. But remember, guys, like Lamar said, next week be here so you can get the information on the Uber drivers and stuff like that. But also be here next week because we're gonna do a full, probably like a 30-minute interview with Arjun, so we can tell you everything he's been doing, what his struggles have been, what his great moments have been, his whole career in LegalShield to get him up to that 50K ring. And we may be able to hear from his wife as well. I'm not sure. I didn't talk to him about that, but I know that he's married and they kind of work the business together. So we may hear from both of them. But absolutely, I'm going to open up the mic to Mr. Arjun. We appreciate you, brother. We congratulate you. And the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dunbar. Here's the thing. I didn't know anything about transportation when I got started. So, you know, I was CDLP certified, and I got on this call. And every week, without fail, I was on this call and just learned a lot of things about transportation, and then, you know, got into it and started to call on transportation companies. But, you know, I was calling I had no plan. I was just picking up the phone and calling blind. And then nothing was working. And so one presentation, it was Mr. Lamar's script. Now I'm going to blame it. This $50,000 ring, I'm going to blame it on Mr. Lamar. You know, it's his fault that he showed me that script. So I took that script and printed it out. And I went to this company. It's a huge company out of Yuba City. They have 4 terminals in different parts of the nation. They have 800 trucks. And I was passing by the lot, and I said, I got to stop by and just tell them about LegalShield. So I stopped by, and one thing, you know, I talked to the safety, and safety said, I have LegalShield. You know, I have my personal plan, not the CDLP, but I'll give it to the drivers. As usually the safety will say, hey, just give me the information and I'll give it to the drivers. If they want it, they'll buy it, right? And I'm like, okay, no problem. And so, you know, I go on by, 6 months goes by, I don't hear anything. So I call him back and email, hey, what's going on? Any drivers? And he's like, nope, nothing's going on. I'm like, okay, no problem. So now remember, I'm in this training every week. So one of the sessions, they were talking about CSA points. They were talking about the, how the CSA points affects the company. And I said, all right, I got to go drive back there and talk to the safety. So I went back there with my script in my hand, and I went again and I said the same script. And the safety guy is looking at me and he's just laughing. You can see he's laughing. He says, you know, he's just like looking at me. He says, AJ, I got it, man. I understand where you're coming from. I have my person who does the tickets. She's the coordinator. Go talk to her. And I said, hey, can you do me a favor and call her and, you know, bring her over and introduce me to her. So that way I'm not blown away, right? So he says, yeah, okay, go ahead. And I talked to he says, hey, this is AJ. He's with LegalShield. It's a great company. You need to hear this program. So we go and sit in the conference room, and I have my paper again from Mr. Lamar, and I'm repeating what I told the safety to her. And I'm reading word by word. And she says, I get your program. I see the value in it. Let's get, let's get going. So I didn't know, the pricing and stuff. So I said, all right, just can you give me a few minutes here and I'll be right back. I just have to get something from the car. And she's like, no problem. So I run outside and I'm speed dialing Mr. Robert. And I'm like, I hope he picks up. I hope he picks up. And now a lot of people do that. You shouldn't do that. You got to give him the heads up. But at that point, I had to call him, right? And he picked up and I said, hey, Mr. Dunbar, I have this company. I need some information. And he says, okay, AJ, you need to do this and this and this. Just go tell her that, and then we'll figure something out. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I go back. I have the paperwork. I said, hey, here's the paperwork. You need to sign up for the group. Here's the pricing. And she's like, hey, I've already have 4 drivers for you. Let's sign them up. And then that was history after that. It's a journey, folks. CDLP is the opportunity. We're in a good position. Mr. Lamar, you remember when I told you about this company, you said, AJ, you are sitting on a gold mine. You have no idea what you're sitting on. And that's what happened. But I'm gonna don't take much time. I know we're gonna do this next week. Just tune in next week and I will go over and let you know my ups and downs, my challenges, how the drivers work. I mean, I get calls from the driver sometime midnight. I'll get a call from a driver, hey, AJ, you're my guy and I have this issue, hey, and you got to pick up the phone or, and tell them, hey, I'll call you back in the morning. The one thing I'll tell you, you open up one of the big groups, they know people. They know people because once they know that this is value to them, to the big company, they will open up doors that you will be like, wow, I didn't even know this. And it's a snowball effect. So, I'll get back to you, Mr. Robert Dunbar, and we will go over everything next week. How about that?
Absolutely, brother. We look forward to it. So we're going to get that full interview next week, guys. So do not miss it. We'll throw a reminder up on the Facebook page. But new 50K ring earner, Mr. Arjun Jossi and his beautiful wife. Congratulations, guys. Great watching you do it. Just looking at you week to week and month to month, talk about hitting executive director and getting business from the trucking company you had. It was a long story just watching you do the whole deal. And it didn't take a lot of time. We're not talking about a 5-year process. We're talking about just a year or two, man. So I was going to be exciting to hear your whole story. So everybody get tuned in for next week. So Lamar, Randy, anything before we close out?
I'll just say it's awesome to celebrate one of the Monday night attendees and see the success. 50,000 K ring, and Mr. Randy Hooker down there, he's got his hands up in the air. When Randy got the message and got the script, he went to work and he was just like AJ. I mean, it didn't take him a year, less than a year. He had his 50,000 K ring. And it's just exciting to see people, take advantage of the opportunity. And it's just an honor to celebrate the success of the people that's on this Monday night call. And I know Mr. Randy, he's got something to say there about that too, because you had a great journey too, Mr. Randy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and there is ups and downs. So AJ, congratulations again. Keep up the good work. Just keep working forward. You'll get the 100,000 right behind you.
Thank you, sir.
Robert.
All right. Anything you want to leave us with, Arjun?
My wife. You mentioned my wife. She's the person in the back, on the back end, working all the logistics and stuff like that. All the paperwork, all the as far as the application goes, uploading them and, dealing with the payment issues and stuff like that. She's the one that takes care of that, the whole office work. And, it's a big support, when you have that kind of, that kind of volume coming in. And remember, I have a full-time job. I work full time for the state of California. So my work starts at 9 a.m. and I'm done at 5:30. Same as her, she works full time too. So, we have to work, sometimes 14, 15 hours a day, maybe 20 hours. Sometimes it goes up to that, because when you have a lot of things going on, we work, but again, we enjoy too at the same time. So, weekends are our time, we are basically recharging on weekend. Back to you,
All right,
Mr.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff, brother. Yeah, that's definitely part of your story, having a full-time job doing so. 50K ring earners while working a full-time job, part-time. I love it. I love it. So appreciate you guys all for being on, for staying with us. We look forward to you guys being on here again next Monday. Remember, go to the YouTube channel, take a look at the replays if you missed anything. If you don't know what everything is, go to the Facebook page, go to the YouTube channel, look at all the videos, take a look at the trainings that we have there as well. Thursday nights, don't forget, Sharanda Ivy has an accountability call. Somebody was asking about how to find an accountability partner. Good place to do that, go to the accountability call. You got some people that's looking to work serious in the business there. So next week, Monday, guys, talk to you guys again. Enjoy you guys like always, and you guys have a great rest of your week. Talk to you guys all soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Congratulations, AJ.
Have a great
Yeah.
week.
Congrats, AJ.
Thank
Way to
you.
go.
AJ.
Congratulations.
Way to go, AJ.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert, for being on top
Thank you,
of
Lamar.
everything, the whole team. Everybody.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
brother.
AJ.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
And congratulations, AJ.
Thank you.